Hello, and welcome to the Streaming Rainbow Podcast, a place where we bring together our stories with your ears. These stories were originally recorded for YouTube, and now they are here for you in pure audio form. Join our crew of storytellers as we dive into fantastical realms and tell human stories. Grab your dice and buckle up your wizard hats. It's time for the games to begin. As a note, this podcast deals with the topics of death, grief, and finding peace. Listener discretion is advised. And now, welcome to The Last Stop, Episode 2, Grey Gardens.
Welcome to the world between worlds, a place simply known as the Junction. Here, spirits are caught in the twilight of existence, awaiting guidance to their final destination. Our journey follows the conductor, a solitary figure bestowed with a solemn duty of guiding those lost souls. Under the watchful gaze of the station master, the conductor navigates the complexities of spirits and their untold stories, helping each find peace before boarding the train for the last stop. Join us in this poignant exploration of memory, loss, and the gentle art of letting go.
Dude, I sounded so sick. Not like sick, but like sick in the last recording. I didn't even realize until I was going back and editing it. I was in the throes of COVID, and apparently my COVID brain was such that I didn't think I sounded like I had COVID. And I go back and I listen, and I sound like this like the whole time. It's awful. What a way to kick off a series.
Such beautiful. I think I was also in some type of throes of some type of like either it was allergies or a cold or something, so my voice had been kind of going out. So I'm interested to see how it sounds like. And I'm also wondering, I was like, is the voice going to work the same way that I have for the conductor, because I don't have that vocal fry anymore?
Oh no.
I think
like,
it'll be fine.
Scream for a little bit to get the fry back. Welcome, one and all, to Streaming Rainbow. How are you all doing today? It's lovely to have you back for our second episode here. I am joined by the incredible Mads here playing our conductor. Had a good enough time last time that they came back. How are you doing, Mads?
I'm doing pretty good. I am very excited to get back into it and continue to play this character. It's been really fun kind of getting to know them and starting out last episode, so really happy to be back.
Yeah, happy to be back as well. Let's just jump into it, yeah?
Yeah, love that.
Our scene opens up. We're at a small cafe. The smell of coffee is in the air. It's that sort of, you know, that old coffee shop smell where it has the sweet aroma of fresh coffee, but behind it's that almost putrid old coffee smell. And it's like trying to explain the way an old book smells. It doesn't sound pleasant, but there's a sort of comfort and nostalgia in that. There's the murmuring of various spirits all around you as they talk about their days or what they're going to be doing. They go through their various routines, kind of fading in and out of the background as these spirits tend to do. A lot of them are more routines than anything. They've lost any sort of identity they might have once had and become the embodiment of an idea or a memory that plays itself out over and over again. But standing out in stark contrast to these spirits, we have the conductor and Tomble, their grandfather. Conductor, what are you drinking?
I think the conductor is drinking a cortado, a perfect size drink that helps you drink it at the right temperature because it's small enough, but doesn't have too much milk, but not too much coffee either.
Perfectly balanced. Mm-hmm. And Tomble is there with a frankly ludicrously sized mug of herbal tea. Hibiscus specifically, because that's what's in season right now, as Two Hands is sipping from it more like a bowl than a mug, honestly, as the two of you sit on one of those cafe tables that's like far too small, that like it can barely fit 2 drinks, let alone a giant Tomble mug. And Tomble turns to you and says, well, I appreciate you coming joining me for some tea this morning.
Of course, we've been meaning to do it. You keep on trying to get me around to go do it. I just thought, now's as good time as any.
You're busy. You got work. You got all sorts of stuff. And I'm a little Tomble. It's fine.
Tomble, you're very important. Grandpa, I really appreciate you, and I'm glad you're here, and so I want to make sure that I spend some time with you because you're important to me.
Aw. Well, you're important to me, kiddo.
How are the things going for you? Have you worked on any of your own gardens? You always are working on mine, but are you working on any of your own garden? I know you like doing that, so how's that going?
Oh, it's going well. Got the herb garden going. It's kind of taken over the whole backyard, if I'm being honest. The rosemary grows like nothing here. You gotta cut it down. keep it control, really. But the garden's going well. Speaking of gardens, do you remember Mrs. Gray?
I think that name rings a bell. It does ring a bell. Was that the lady that always had clove cigarettes?
Yeah, that's her.
That's the only thing I smell when I remember her.
And as you kind of say that and you like go back in your memories, it's weird being in the spirit world because your memories are sort of all jumbled together and it can be hard to pry certain things out, especially if you're not actively with that spirit or that person. But that pungent smell that's similar to the coffee shop, that sickly sweet yet nostalgic smell, just fills you of those clove cigarettes. Yeah, I was thinking about her back. You remember that community garden initiative that she did?
Tell me more about it. It's sort of ringing a bell, but again, all the memories here get a little, a little wibbly-wobbly, jibbly-jobbly.
Oh, I gotcha. It's, well, to be honest, old Tomble's memory ain't what it used to be either, but, yeah, she used to go around to different neighborhoods and start up these little community gardens, little community herb gardens, people... bring people together, help those less fortunate, things like that. I was thinking about that. I was thinking Junction could use a community garden, couldn't it?
That would not be a bad idea. Is that why you Oh, I remember a little bit now. Is that why you started making your own herb gardens? Because she helped you out and how you could grow rosemary?
Yeah, she helped me out. And, well, old Tomble might have had a little crush on her, but, it's neither here nor there. It's, yeah, she actually really loved hibiscus, he says. He tips the bowl into his mouth. One of her favorite flowers. I think about it every time I get my tea here.
The conductor thinks about Briar and what reminds them of Briar. Just having had that recent experience and those little things like seeing a camera or seeing a remembering group of people being happy at a party or a bar, and takes a moment to appreciate the smell of the hibiscus tea that can still waft in between the scent of the coffee.
Yeah. As you're sitting there reminiscing, smelling the hibiscus, that cloying smell of the clove cigarettes doesn't dissipate. It has a sudden realness to it as you hear a train whistle in the background calling you to work. Skimble kind of looks between the two of you, having sat himself on the precarious table. Well, boss?
The conductor gives an eyebrow raise to Skimble and downs the rest of their cortado. Looks over at their grandpa and is like, well, duty calls. I gotta get going again. But this was really nice. I enjoyed talking with you and sharing some time with you. We should do it again.
Absolutely. Anytime, kiddo. Now you go get to work.
All right. I'll see you around.
And you and Skimble kind of hops up awkwardly in that same awkward bird walk that you've become accustomed to, and sets himself on your shoulder. He starts sort of subtly directing you towards where you need to go.
I look over at Skimble and I go, you never really do you like coffee or anything like that? Do you enjoy a drink or anything like that? I don't know how it works for you.
I mean, I like sugar water as much as the next guy, boss, but coffee ain't really my thing. Caffeine doesn't do too well with birds.
That makes sense, I suppose. But that's kind of a shame. You don't get to experience coffee. Coffee's great.
Well, it's a shame you don't get to experience birdseed.
Touche. We'll take you win some, you lose some, right?
And as you sort of navigate the labyrinthine streets of Junction, you find yourself in front of a small cottage. There's, again, that cloying smell of clove cigarettes. The cottage itself is it's overgrown. There's ivies and vines, and kind of around the perimeter is an old worn out wooden fence, and you hear some sort of out of tune humming coming from the front sort of garden just behind this overgrown fence. And as you approach, you see Mrs. Gray leaned over. She's got a clove cigarette hanging out the corner of her mouth as she sort of idly puffs it, as it looks like maybe harvesting some carrots from the garden out front. And you just see raised beds with various herbs. You see a tomato cage. You see overgrown squash over in this area. You see just an abundance of food, really. Food, herbs, things like that, as she works on the garden. And as you open the gate and it sort of creaks open, she looks up and looks over. Hey, look who it is.
How you doing, Miss Gray? I thought I was smelling clove.
I'm doing good. You picked up the habit yourself yet?
I can't say I have. I think I have more of a brown thumb when it comes to it. Tomble's tried, but it's just not going to stick with me. I'm usually more of a knack for handiwork around the house, or maybe fixing watches, those kinds of things.
She sort of stands up and pulls off her gardening gloves, sort of dusts her hands off. Well, you'll figure it out. You want to come inside? I can offer you some water, gin.
Sure, I'll take some water, Miss Gray. I'd love to come in.
Come on in. And she sort of leads you inside. And the inside of the cottage is cluttered, but it's that type of cluttered of someone who has that chaotic, frenetic urge to create, to make, right? You see there's knitting supplies. You see there's a corner over here for sewing. You see set in front of the fireplace are sort of 2 sawhorses with some in progress woodworking projects happening. There's even like an anvil set near one of the walls with some, looks like handmade cutlery or something scattered around it. Just, it's full of projects. Most of them half done, but plenty of them done as well. Full of ideas, full of potential, really. And Mrs. Gray sort of navigates this in a way that she's done for who knows how many years. Knowing the perfect place to step to not knock things over, and sort of getting you set up at a table much larger than the one at the cafe with a glass of water, and brings out the bottle of gin for herself and pours a small cup. Well, it's been a while since I last saw you, since you went off to the monastery or the temple or whatever you call it.
Yeah, it's been some time, hasn't it? It has been some time. I see you're still have all your projects. That was always one of my favorite things to look at when I was younger, coming around and seeing what you're working on today.
I got plenty of time now. Plenty of time to do what I want to do for me for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you sound like that maybe like when earlier before, you didn't really have that time to do what you wanted. You feel like now you have a greater amount of time to finish all these projects?
Yeah, I don't. It's different here in Junction. The things that I could be helping, volunteering, working for here, they're not as impactful, right? It's memories, spirits, ideas. They don't need community gardens.
The conductor thinks back to what Tomble literally just said a little while ago, that they could use a community garden, and sort of thinks about how, yes, they're memories, but memories need to be cultivated. And looks over at Miss Gray and goes, well, now, like, that's maybe calling a memory or something that's not as valuable as maybe even your herbs. You can't just let the memories go or they die. They gotta be cultivated. I think so, a little community garden here and there. Not saying you have to do it. I think you could still take the time that you want while you're here, because Junction, you get to take this journey how you want it. But the memories should be cultivated, Miss Gray.
Oh, I suppose you're not wrong there. Speaking of memories, you remember when we first met?
Let's see now.
As you sort of peer back into your memory and you feel the train whistle around your neck sort of heat up as the magic of the conductor, of the station master, brings you to this moment. And you find yourself back in the neighborhood that you grew up in. And sitting behind one of those little card tables out in front of her house is Mrs. Gray. You see on top of the card table are all sorts of clippings and whatnot of different plants meant to be replanted or taken or whatnot for people to start their own gardens. And there's a big sort of handmade sign hanging off the front of the table that just says like community gardens sign here. Very simple, very straightforward. It's not decorated in any sort of way. It's like written in Sharpie, and sort of dead center of the table is a clipboard. and sitting behind it is Mrs. Gray. She looks just as old as she does, and you're not sure if it's just because in your memory she was ancient at this time, or if she's actually a timeless being, or what it is, right? But she's sort of leaning back, closed cigarette, ever present, as she's talking to various people, trying to get them to sort of sign this clipboard, take home clippings, and sort of her own bit of community building. And the spirit of Mrs. Gray, sort of here next to you, gestures over and towards a much younger version of the conductor as they sort of run up to the table here. What did you say in that moment?
Miss Gray, I think I found these different kinds of seeds that might be really good, or clippings for what is it called? The community garden thing. See, I found these old leaves by the clubhouse.
Oh, well, isn't that just precious, honey? Here, why don't you put them on the table next to our other clippings?
Okay, I will. And so, be clear, this is like random old leaves that the conductor found. They're basically like those crunchy leaves you see in the fall. I'm not sure what time of year it is right now, but it's definitely just leaves from a tree that they thought, and maybe Briar thought, would be great to put like in the clippings.
Absolutely, yeah. She sort of clears off some space for you to put the leaves. With all these wonderful seeds and leaves, you're gonna have to start your own community garden soon. You got enough?
Well, maybe I could learn from you. I don't really know much about it right now, but my grandpa always says that I have a brown thumb and I kill a plant if I look at it.
She sort of leans over and ruffles your hair. Well, I'm always happy to teach you. And we're going to kick off our first approach roll here. Now, difficulty here is going to be 11. Mrs. Gray is not as easy of a spirit as Briar.
Okay. I think adding skills, I don't really know what we're adding here. But I guess like right now we're taking some time to go through some memories. So I would say maybe dedicated would work here because we're going slow with it. I'm not sure if reflection works here. We're going back through memories. It could work, but I don't know if we're reflecting on an unhealthy choice or something like that right now.
I don't think in this moment we are.
Right. So I think I'm going to go with dedicated, and that's the thing I'm adding. And I roll 2 dice and add them together plus that 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to be an 8. First fail.
First failure. Yeah. Ms. Gray, the spirit kind of turns to you. You never did follow up on that.
I guess I didn't I?
It's fine. You have plenty to do. You were always busy. Still are, I assume. She sort of gestures to your conductor's regalia.
Well, I'll say I'm sorry about that. That I didn't ever come follow up with you about gardening practice.
Oh, it's fine. You don't have anything to apologize to little old me for. Life's a series of choices, a series of priorities. For some people, that priority is making community gardens. And for some people, that priority is helping people pass on. Ain't neither of them wrong.
No, but still, something I said. And, perhaps that was something you wanted. What did you want?
You know, I always wanted kids. But, the parts, they don't work the way they're supposed to. Gift from God, I suppose. Curse, whatever you want to call it. Gave me more time for my gardens, but no one to pass them on to.
You know, the weird thing about this job is that while you see and you're talking to other people and you see how everyone else goes about through their lives or their passing or whatever it may have you, you always have to come back and look at what happened when you did your choices. I should have followed up with you about that gardening. I was young. Probably got worried about my plans. Briar would have said something about that. Anyway, I always wondered what. Now I don't even. I'm trying to think about what I was doing that I couldn't come and learn how to garden a little bit. Maybe I'd be. Lord knows, I'd probably be better at it now. Not my grand Tomble wouldn't have to be doing it all the time now.
Tomble. I always did have a little crush on him. Just didn't know how to bring it up.
I'd say maybe. The conductor smiles and doesn't necessarily return it with saying that Tomble returned those feelings, but finds it amusing that both of them were sweet on each other.
I mean, what we think is important is an interesting thing. I'm sure that whatever you were doing at that time was of the utmost importance to you, and that makes it valuable.
Yes. Yes, in some ways. I don't know. Hindsight's 20/20, you know?
It is. Do you regret?
Regret's a funny thing, Miss Gray. I have a weird relationship with it in this type of work.
I can imagine.
It's more like a friend, or not even a friend. That's too strong or endearing of a word for it. It's more just something that happens. There's so much that happens in life that you're gonna regret. You're gonna have a regret. You're going to miss things. It's almost like whenever you read or you watch a series for the first time that's kind of complicated. You read a book and then you go back and read it again. You realize there's some details you missed. It's kind of like doing that. I have the benefit of being able to do that. Not everyone else gets to, but I have the benefit of having to look. Sometimes also the curse, if you ask me. Sometimes to look past and see all the things I've done in my life, the choices I've made, and how it affected things, how it affected other people, and you get to see where sometimes you like what you did and sometimes you don't like what you did. And in this case, I'm not saying it destroyed your life or anything like that, not teaching me how to garden. You had other people in your life too, and I'm sure things were fine. But I do regret not putting more time into the people I was around before thinking so hard about work. Which I don't think I got that early enough in my life, but I can appreciate what regret teaches me about it now. If that makes any sense. Convoluted way of saying, yes, I have regret, but it doesn't eat me up inside, perhaps. Do you have regret?
Me? Not a bit. I lived my life exactly how I wanted to.
That's beautiful. Not many people get to say that, you know.
Yeah. I'm lucky in that way, I suppose. I got my little gardens. Got my little found family. It was good. It was a good life. I'm happy with the impact I had. You know, and your whistle sort of warms up, and the air around you turns cold. You see snow begin to sort of form and fall around you as the memory sort of begins to appear outward from you. And you recognize the duplex that you used to live in. It was a rougher time in the conductor's life. Things weren't going super well financially, but you had each other. And as you kind of peer in through the windows of the duplex, you see a Christmas tree set up inside, and immediately remember that this was one of your fondest Christmases. That you, in the way that kids are, right? You kind of expected, like, oh, we don't have any money, like, Christmas is gonna suck, I wish I could just hang out with my friends instead, like, woe is me type of simple view of the world. But we're pleasantly surprised when Christmas actually was good, that you did get some of the gifts that you wanted, and that more importantly, you had one of the best Christmas meals you can ever remember. And as you're sitting here, the view from outside the house, you see Mrs. Gray as she sort of walks down the block. She's got what looks like a large picnic basket around one arm and a sort of very large, like, duffel bag slung over her other arm as she walks over and approaches the house. You see that she sort of kneels down and checks over the duffel bag and the picnic basket, and as you peek in, you recognize the picnic basket, what's in it at least, as that Christmas meal that you so fondly look back on, that was so different from all of the Christmas meals you'd had until and since.
Oh, you were the one that made that meal, huh?
Yeah. A small kindness. It was easy for me. I didn't have anyone I needed to take care of for Christmas, but your parents did.
That was the best Christmas meal I've ever had. I didn't have a better one at before, didn't have a better one after. I still think about it. It was... How did you do it with the mushrooms? You did something with the mushrooms that was just so good. And as a kid, you know, you're not really inclined to like mushrooms, but I like mushrooms, and I've liked them ever since. But I still have tried to cook them the way. Now that I meant to think about it again, I tried for years to copy the way that you cook those mushrooms, and I still haven't figured it out.
I'll have to get you the recipe. It's an overnight marinade to soften it up and impart the flavor.
That's be where I'm doing it wrong. I bet you can probably imagine I'm not the best cook around either.
It's all about priorities, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Did you end up staying with us, right? You ended up staying and having dinner with us this Christmas, yeah?
I came back afterwards, yeah. But it was important to me that it wasn't immediately obvious, at least to you kids, that it came from me, right? I'm sure your parents put it together, who the gifts and the meal came from, but they had the courtesy to not be too obvious about it. I think kindness is best done without expectation of reward.
You know, the conductor takes the whistle that's around their neck and shows it to Miss Gray and goes, you know, this is the thing you got me? I still use it. This is the one thing I was allowed to pick something to bring over, and this was the thing I chose because that's how much it meant to me. And it was probably one of the... It was a nice whistle. Like, it was a really nice whistle. And I was obsessed with this whole conductor. Maybe not the conductor situation, but I was so obsessed with the whole temple monastery stuff that, took up so much of my life. And the fact that you got me this genuine, really nice whistle. Me and Briar played with it for hours. And, it's still the thing I use the most in my job.
Go ahead and give me our approach roll here. And I'm also wondering, I think that it's 3d6 is your
Oh, are we? Oh, I also rolled. It was mind versus heart.
Yeah,
Okay, so I rolled with mind, the two, which I probably would have rolled with a heart in that case, but that's fine.
that's fine.
That's fine. A failure is fine.
Yeah.
Um, let me go. I think for here, I'm rolling with heart for sure. I'm
Yeah.
dedicated for sure right now, and also I'm examining my choices and not really hers. I don't even know if reflection's happening right now. I don't know if that works with the way I'm reading it on the sheet. Doesn't seem like that's how it works for the character, you know?
I agree. Yeah, we're not really re-examining her choices.
Uh-huh.
Here, we're more kind of experiencing them, like really revealing to the conductor the other side of interactions that they've had.
Right. All right. Total on the dice was 14, and adding another 1 to it will make it 15. So I hope we'll see what the roll was actually, but.
All right. 14, so that'd be 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely knock that out of the park.
Much better than the 8.
Much better than the 8, yeah. Mrs. Gray sort of looks over at the whistle with a sort of fondness. Yeah, you had a level of dedication in your life that is unmatched by basically anyone that I know. I did what I could. I helped people. I built up the world around me and made it a better place. I'm very thankful for that, but I never felt dedicated. Felt like a lost soul adrift in a strange world more than anything.
Tell me more about that. That a lost soul drifted in a strange world. Did you feel like you didn't fit in?
No, of course not. I mean, too many people out there trying to make things, or actively making things worse, dumping oil into our rivers, causing pain, exploiting people. I think it's rare to be the type of person that does more than just survive, but tries to make the world a better place for those around them. And that's what I tried so desperately to do, but every turn, every single turn, there was pushback. Do you know how many government officials I had to talk to for my community gardens project? To make
Probably far too many.
garden, I had to talk to dozens of employees. You have to get permits. You have to renew them yearly. You have to get a whole nonprofit set up. It's a logistical nightmare to do that much. And I'm not going to act like my community gardens changed the world, but even that small amount of good took my entire life.
You know, they changed somebody's world though.
They did. They did.
And not saying trying to do right in a world that is gonna follow Murphy's law. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Will wrong. Will wrong. Sorry, second. For people that don't know, I'm also a speech language pathologist, and so I speak perfectly all the time. All the time. Never have a slip up. Never met.
Incredible speaking skills.
Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. It is exhausting to be met with a desire to keep something pure and good and lovely in this world when everyone else is like, but why should we have that? That's going to be a lot of money, government officials. That's going to be a lot of work, government officials. That's going to be a lot of whatever. That's going to be, I have to do city planning for that. And it's like that you have this passion. I would almost have argued that perhaps you are dedicated or were maybe still are, I don't know. And I can be wrong about this, but that fire, and you just kept on getting blown out by all the pushback and all the red tape you faced when you were trying to do good things. Because it's hard just to let good happen. People fight good happening. That's something I see over and over again. People fight the good from happening because maybe it's for the good to happen. Sometimes harder things have to happen first. Work has to happen. You know that better than anyone. You worked harder than as a kid. I noticed you worked harder probably than almost anyone I knew.
It is difficult to keep that fire going. I don't think it ever got to the point where it blew out, though. I've seen it blow out in other people. For those of us who have that fire, whose fire is stronger than others, I believe it's our duty, our job, to relight the fires of those whose flame has gone out, whose passion has been lost, whose joy and good and kindness is missing, beaten down by this world that we live in.
Suggestion's always nice. I think that what was it that kept your fire going then? Usually there's always some type of source.
Something had to. Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to make the world a better place. Why not me, right? It's not just that. Seeing the impact helped a lot. And those moments were few and far between. But being able to see that the good I was doing was meaningful to people, and that kept me going. And as she says that, the whistle sort of warms up, and you are transported to one of the community gardens. Not one that you recognize. It must be in a different part of the city. But you see Mrs. Gray sort of on one knee explaining something to what looks like a teenager. He's certainly not an adult, but you can see that he's got a number of tattoos up and down his arms. And Mrs. Gray is sort of explaining the sort of more specifics about particular types of gardening. And if you plant the squash and the corn together, they'll help each other sort of grow. They'll protect each other. So it's a Three Sisters planting style is what we're looking at here. It's one of kind of the more basic approaches. Basic's what you want for a community garden. You got that, Jacob? Jacob sort of quietly nods, and as he begins arranging the squash seeds around the base of the already beginning to sprout corn. And Mrs. Gray looks over at you, the spirit, and says, "That was Jacob. He, I suppose, was the closest thing I had to a son. He got in with the wrong crowd when he was young, didn't have parental support, didn't have a family to fall back on, and thankfully found his way to my community garden project, and I think was really able to turn his life around. I did get him hooked on cigarettes. That was my fault, but I think that having the unconditional support that I was able to provide, having a project, an outlet, I think that gave him an opportunity he wouldn't have had otherwise. It's moments like that to keep the fire going."
Did you stay in contact with Jacob?
I did. Treat him as my own son. Stayed over a few nights a week, cooked him dinner. He helped me with things around the house as Well, as you get old, your bones stop working the way they're supposed to. Getting up on ladders starts getting dangerous. Doctor says I'm not supposed to lift certain things. Having a strong young man like that to help out is good.
Where did Jacob end up?
I wish I knew. The end was sudden, peaceful. It happened in my sleep. I guess I won't know what the long-term impact of my life was, but I'm confident that it was positive. I'm confident that the impact of all of the small kindnesses that I was able to give along the way measured up to something bigger and brighter than most people's.
Is that what you wanted out of your life? For it to be an act of service that made a bigger difference than everyone else's?
Go ahead and do our approach roll.
Okay.
Because
I'm torn between mind or heart on this one.
Yeah?
Part of it, training procedure and experience, seems like, am I trying to get, because obviously she's not ready to pass on, that's why I'm here. But she keeps on saying, I'm all good, I'm happy with what happened. So I feel like maybe the conductor may be trying to, like, figure out what's going on here. But then again, heart says emotional instinct and experience, so I also think there's an instinct that the conductor knows something just isn't right. Where instead of just shipping her off to the next thing,
Yeah. So your target number is a 9.
A 9?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, I'm always going to want to use heart because I have 3 dice for that.
Right.
So I'm going to put the push for heart. I think this one is using reflection to have her look over what she wanted in her life.
I agree.
We've been sort of doing dedicated because I am taking the time for her to open up. So I would say that we could probably use it, even though I don't know if it relates because we've been doing it the whole session or if it's just...
Yeah, I feel like I like going with reflective here because it feels like there is a tone shift in this memory.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll go with reflective. Here we go. All right, that's another 14, so 15.
All right. We'd love to see it. It is what I wanted. I think it's the right thing to want. And I don't regret a moment of my life. I think I did the things I wanted to do. I lived the type of life I wanted to live. I think in the end, what most people want is to be remembered, to live on in that way. And the impact I had will be. It'll be remembered in a kind and generous light, I hope, and it will continue to echo for generations. And that's exactly what I wanted. And I'm happy with the life I lived. But death is a scary thing. The idea, the finality of it. No turning back. No undoing it. It just happens. And I just have to hope that in the end, when all the chips are down, that my positive impact was greater than my negative one. There's no guarantees in life and no guarantees on what happens afterwards. And that's hard to think of.
The conductor takes a deep breath, listening over her answer, and smiles a little bit and says, I'm really glad that you did life how you wanted to. That's really important, and I'm glad you had the chance to do that. I also think that there might be some aspect of you worrying that you're not going to be remembered. And so I want to show you how people remember you now. And the impact that you did make. To see all your chips, how they stacked. I can't show you everything, but there is something I can show you. And I think with their whistle, the conductor blows it. Or rubs it, I don't know. And the way that the town they grew up in, their climate change levels improved, or the way that the greenery, the community garden helped out with the air pollution. It provided food to lots of other people and still provides food. It's still being taken care of, still being kept. And she also gets to see how I think the impact maybe more of an inward, not necessarily the future of Jacob, but the inward thoughts and feelings he had towards her.
Yeah, we see sort of as we zoom out and see sort of the community garden initiative continue and reach more neighborhoods in the city. We zoom in and we see at Mrs. Gray's funeral, we see Jacob in the front row, sort of weeping, and we see sort of flashing almost like a ghost image in front of us, like him going through all the same bureaucratic nonsense, like working with the nonprofit, like trying to continue her legacy as best he can. And sort of glimmer appears in Mrs. Gray's eye, and she smiles. Oh, thank you for that. I've said my piece. And she takes the finally finished clove cigarette out, sort of puts it out and puts the butt in her pocket. My understanding is there's a train I'm supposed to catch.
Right this way.
Yeah. And you lead Mrs. Gray to the train, hand her ticket one way, and two of you take your seat in the small train car. As it begins making its way to the last stop, scenery outside the window is lush, overgrown fields full of wheat, fruit trees, squash, pumpkins, which are also squash, I suppose. Fields of herbs, far too much rosemary, as the two of you make that final journey together. Mrs. Gray turns to you. What about you? Do you regret dedicating your life as much as you did? Do you think that you chose the right priorities?
I think I did some at some points. I think I did at other points. I think this work can be all-consuming. And I think it does take a certain person to do that kind of work. And I'm not going to try and sit here and say that I felt special or anything like that, but I do feel like that I'm not sure if I had been a different way, if I would have been able to do what I did and do what I do now. I don't think if my brain worked a different way, it probably just wouldn't have been in the cards for me. Yet, I still think that even in the process of this all-consuming work, I think there are some things that I would have maybe rather taken a little more time in. I think I would have rather taken a little more time in some of the people that I knew from before. I think that's something that if I had to say I regret, I'd regret that. But then again, it's how life goes. There's things that you do right, there's things you do wrong. And like you said, you hope that hopefully the positive impact outweighs the negative. But also, I don't think that's all we are. I don't think we're just chips stacked against one another of our deeds. I think also we're like, those plants out there. The pumpkin doesn't try to be the flower. The flower doesn't try to be the tree. It just is. And one of them might be better for food or something, but one of them might kill you if you eat it, so don't eat the flowers. But you know what I'm getting, right? You're knowing what I'm saying. That sometimes things just are and life just is, and doesn't have to mean everything all the time. And yeah, some regret may be here, but that means that it means that I can reflect back on it, and I can't change it now. It doesn't do me any good to be sad about it. It just means that hopefully I can pass on something to the next person, which it doesn't even really work that way because most people I talk to they're not going on to anything. It's just something I have to live with. And so I've made my peace. But perhaps I can show others that do have regrets. Not you, because you said you don't. But I found it has helped when other people realize the last person they talk to often has regrets as well.
Yeah. Pumpkins actually have quite beautiful flowers.
See, this is why I should have I regret not taking your little lessons.
What legacy do you think you left behind? How do you think you've been remembered?
Probably a workaholic. That's probably all that people remember me as. But weirdly enough, I think that I don't know if I even believe that. I was going to say I don't think I need to be remembered. People like me in this kind of work, it's better if you don't remember me. I feel like sometimes.
The work you do is important. It deserves to be remembered in a kind light.
I think people remember me as dedicated. I think they remember me as intentional with that. But I think they also remember me as someone who had a one-track mind. And that's I won't say I wish I wasn't remembered as dedicated, but I think I would have liked to be remembered as a little more personable. As an approach I try and bring now. I don't know if I may or may not seem any different than I was when I was a kid to you.
You seem quite different. You're all grown up now. And you're doing hard work with an intentionality and kindness that's difficult to achieve. And I think you should be proud of what you're doing. I think Tomball's proud of you. And I sure as hell am.
That means a lot, Miss Gray. That really does. If you're going to tell me one thing I should know about gardening, what would it be?
One thing?
One
wrap up
thing.
my decades of experience into one thing.
One thing.
Have fun with it. It's not about the end result. It's not about what flowers you get or what plants you get or how well they grow. It's about the experience. It's about learning. It's about nurturing. It's about working those difficult parts of the brain on something that doesn't give you the same feedback as a person. Just find joy in it.
I can do that. Even if I kill the flowers. Find joy in it, maybe try again.
Exactly. And you know what? Each flower will live a little longer than the last one. And before you know it, you'll have a house overgrown with them. The train lets out a hiss of steam, and you hear the metal on metal sounds as it comes to a stop. The last stop. Well, suppose this is for me, huh?
Yep. This is it.
Mrs. Gray stands up and takes a glance out the window and looks over at you, and before you can say anything, just pulls you into a vice grip of a hug. That's the kind that only physically active little old ladies can do, where you're like, I feel bone from your arms, but there's enough muscle here that I cannot escape. And she pulls you in and gives you a dry kiss on the cheek. I'm glad it was you, in the end, to bring me here.
I will, I don't know if it helps, but, and not that you need any help, you're quite capable and you're set in what you want to do, but, I remember everybody. And so I will remember you as kind, as that fire that inspired me to keep going, that inspires other people to keep going. And I'll remember that you made a difference.
That means the world to me, kiddo. Give Tomble my best.
Of course.
She gives one last squeeze and steps through the doors, slowly fading as she does so. The outside of the car turns dark, leaving you and Skimble alone on the ride back home. What is the conductor thinking right now?
I think the conductor is just thinking about her memory and okay. For a second I thought I wasn't gonna tear up again, and yeah.
We got there. Same though.
They're thinking about how she was so worried that everything she did was not going to be remembered, or not even worried, but just she hoped so hard. She had such a big hope that what she did was enough. And that there was no way they could have shown all the ways she actually did help, and how every life she touched and everything that she showed. And also the unfortunate situation that everyone forgets at some point. Mm-hmm. That years and years go on. As the years go on, Miss Gray will not be remembered, except by them. For however long they hold the station.
Yeah.
And it makes them think, like, a lot of lives, they've seen a lot of lives where this is what they want. They want to be remembered. But everyone gets forgotten at some point. And they're thinking, maybe that's kind of the reason, not as much as to help them pass on, but to be that last comfort to somebody, to know that someone will remember them. Maybe that's the reason they are there, more so than anything else, and they understand their job a little bit better now.
Yeah. And what keepsake do you bring back with you off of that train?
I think when she had squeezed the conductor's hand, a small pouch of the leaves that wouldn't have actually worked and grown in the garden, but she kept them all these years. She kept the little like packet of old leaves that the stupid kid had brought her, the stupid conductor, when they were younger.
Absolutely. Bring the packet of leaves to your attic. Give them a place of honor amongst the rest of the memories, the keepsakes, the things that the conductor must hold with them as long as they hold the station. That's where we draw the curtains for this episode. How you doing, Mads?
That one was a slow burn. Like with the previous episode, I feel like that the emotion was pretty strong throughout, you know? And then just towards the end, like right now, like I was actually having trouble talking because I was starting to get emotional about it. Like the whole situation with Miss Gray. And I really like the different variety of emotion we're able to bring to this experiment, I would call it almost, of how some of them will feel quite heavily emotional, and then some of them are kind of hit you out of nowhere, which actually kind of mirrors the grief of losing someone that's older, I feel like, in some way, which is not everyone's experience, so I'm not saying that that's a universal experience, but having experienced it with my grandpa, when he passed, and he had lived a very long life, it was a peaceful death for him, and I was very grateful for that. It didn't feel the same way it felt when my dad passed away, because he was much younger and everything, and it was a different kind of grief I went through.
Yeah.
But it kind of this feeling mirrors that feeling, for lack of a better word, where it's like it hits you randomly after it's done, almost, not whenever it's happening, and you realize, oh dang, this person's actually just gone. They lived so long and they did so many things, but at one point no one's going to know who they are anymore, you know? Right. Like my grandpa was a POW and like got medals and everything, and did so much with his life and everything, and it's just crazy. It just made me think about that whenever I was doing the conductor reverie. But yeah, this is I also really liked the thing about memories needing to be cultivated.
Yeah, that was good.
I like the way that I said that. So good job, Mads.
Good job.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. That voice is hard. But no, I also agree. I liked exploring a different sort of emotion today, and I want each spirit to feel very different, and it's all going to come together, I think, in the end, in a very beautiful way. I'm very excited for us to meet Jacob next time.
What? No, wait. Okay. Just that's the like the the thumbnail you put as the picture for this. Okay, my heart literally skipped a beat. I am like not emotionally ready.
Yeah. Well, that's the heads up you get, and that's the heads up our viewers get. So make sure you tune in next time, and let's see how much of Mrs. Gray's legacy actually lived on. Until next time, I love your faces. Make sure to hop in the Discord, catch us on Twitch, all the places, follow, subscribe. Every little bit, comment down below. Every little bit helps increase engagement on the channel, helps bring in new viewers, and makes me feel warm and fuzzy every time I see a like notification, every time I see a new subscriber, every time someone hops in the Discord. It makes my day. So I want you to make my day if you can. Until next episode, see ya. Yeah, God. I don't know how much of this like behind the scenes footage is actually going to make it into a video, but it has been, I think, 2 months since our last recording. Since our last recording, I have lost my wife. I have lost my job. I have
Preach on it. Preach on it.
gone on an adventure. My whole world's kind of been flipped upside down here in the space of a couple of months. So yeah, it's a very different vibe coming into this one than going into the last one. I got a new room. I need a picture right there. It looks so naked and empty. I also need my lights because right now, like, the reflection on my glasses is intense, and I'm intensely yellow.
To be fair, I should probably figure out some lighting for in here too. I look a little ashen, but that might be good.
Ashen one. I've got the lights. The problem with these lights are that they use American connectors. And I don't have
America.
enough. Right. I don't have enough like European to American outlets converters.
Thank you for joining us today. The Last Stop was written by Bastion Fennell using the One Child's Heart system. The players are Madison Morris and Bastion Fennell. Music by Ben Sound and Amsley Beats. Editing by Eli Gallagher. We hope you enjoyed the drama, laughter, and chaos as much as we did. If you had a blast, don't forget to share the love and tell your friends. Until next time, keep searching for the rainbow.